This is my audience. My paper is going to be on integrating technology and the multiple intelligences. The multiple intelligences were developed by Howard Gardner in 1983 in a book that he called Frames of Mind. And in this book, it says that he suggests that the traditional notion of intelligence, which is based on IQ testing, is far too limited. Instead, Dr. Gardner proposes 8 different intelligences to account for a broader range of human potential in children and adults. Gardner was asked in an interview how he came up with the intelligences. And what he replied was that the most important influence was actually learning about brain damage and what could happen to people when they had strokes. And he said that when a person has a stroke, a certain part of the brain gets injured, and that injury can tell you what that part of the brain does. Individuals who lose their musical abilities can still talk. People who lose their linguistic abilities still might be able to sing. That understanding not only brought me into the whole world of brain study, but it was really the seed that led ultimately to the theory of the multiple intelligences. As long as you can lose one ability while others are spared, you cannot just have a single intelligence. You have to have several intelligences. Integrating technology in the classrooms has always been a problem that teachers have had. Recently in the 21st century, obviously there has been a lot more technology. If you walk into any classroom nowadays, from a 3-year-old classroom all the way into high schools and colleges, there is usually a minimum of 1 computer. And what's happening is that now teachers are finding it more difficult to integrate the technology of the use of the computers with the multiple intelligences, which are the different learning styles that children have. There are 8 different kinds of multiple intelligences at the moment, although Gardner is working on 3 more that he believes, with his theories and everything, that later on might be added to the list. But currently, the intelligences are the linguistic learners, the logical and mathematical learners, spatial learners, musical learners, bodily kinesthetic learners, interpersonal learners, intrapersonal, and the naturalistic. According to McCoog, the multiple intelligence and technology blend in the modern changing environment of education. To compete in the world marketplace, today's students must acquire 21st century skills, such as global awareness and social responsibility, while in high school. Technology allows these skills to be presented. The teacher's instruction must then focus on student achievement so that the technology integration is effective. Because students all learn differently, it's important for the teachers to be able to find ways to teach all of the students so that they are all learning in the same capacity and no child is left behind. I'm going to go into the 8 different intelligences so that there's an understanding of what they are. So linguistic learners are the learners that enjoy reading and writing and poetry. So a way that you would incorporate that type of learning style and that intelligence with technology would be to have students work using Microsoft Office or Microsoft Word on the computer. The logical and mathematical learners, they enjoy solving math problems. So using Java applications and whiteboards and other simulated projects and games and softwares would be good for those type of learners. Graphing calculators and spreadsheets are also things that would work for the mathematical and logical intelligence. The visual and spatial learners learn best using overhead projectors and televisions and videos. So things like YouTube and other websites on the World Wide Web would be great for these types of learners. The bodily kinesthetic learners are learners that enjoy dance and things that have to do with movement. So using a joystick or a mouse or simulations that require eye-hand coordination to play games on the computer is something that these learners would work best with them. The musical and rhythmical intelligence use headphones, tape recorders, things of that nature, and so that's how it would be incorporated with technology. Intrapersonal are the ones that are more introverted, so they typically like to write about their feelings. So those would be, if you had a classroom blog, those were the types of learners that would be, you know, posting journal entries and things of that nature on the websites. Interpersonal are the learners that are intuitive and they're talented at oral presentations. So using Excel programs, post-it notes, online greeting cards, different types of websites like that are things that those types of learners are interested in. So there's many ways to incorporate it. And the naturalistic learners are those that learn best through nature, or things that are very hands-on. So using microscopes and telescopes and science are things that those learners would use best. Gardner also said that what he argues against is the notion that there's only one way to learn how to read, only one way to learn how to compute, and only one way to learn about biology or math or science. He thinks that those contentions are nonsense because there's not just one way of learning. There are various ways of learning, and since all students learn differently, the teachers need to teach in that capacity so that all learners will constantly be learning the material. It's not necessarily, I've looked at a lot of lesson plans, it's not something that teachers every single day have to focus on all 8 of the different multiple intelligences, but it's good for the teachers to incorporate both technology and the multiple intelligences within their lesson plans to better assist the students so that first of all, so that students don't get bored, but so that there's a broader range and more space within the classroom and the learning environment for the students to move around and learn in different ways instead of just the original way, which is the first 2 that I mentioned, which was the linguistic way of learning and the spatial. The logical and mathematical, which is basically you're sitting in the classroom, listening to lectures and, you know, working from books. With all these other intelligences, teachers are forced to come up with different ways and to incorporate the intelligences within their lessons so that the students are not only just sitting, they're doing different things within the classroom. According to Venema and Gardner, European and Asian countries routinely surpass the United States in educational accomplishments, not because their technology is more glitzy, but because the educational enterprise is taken more seriously. That's one of the problems that we're having nowadays. Technology is taking over the world. We have iPods and cell phones and laptops and notebooks, and everything is just revolving around technology, and it's an instant gratification society, so things need to be done at a moment's notice. So basically there's no limit to what a person can do or learn with technology, and it's a way that we can look into the past and into the future and be able to develop lessons and research, and the students have more opportunities for learning and growing with technology. According to Gardner, clearly a marriage of education and technology could be consummated, but it will only be a happy marriage if those charged with education remain clear on what they want to achieve for our children and vigilant that the technology serves those ends. We all learn in different ways. Educators need to try to meet the needs of all children by providing a variety of lessons using various teaching methods. When integrating technology in lessons, teachers have to make sure to remember the needs of all learners and use various methods and techniques. And going along with that, with what Hampton just said in that last part, it's a great tool to have the multiple intelligence available to us. And there's numerous websites that I came across that provide lesson plans and ways that teachers can teach all of the students so that they reach all of their children, and so they're all constantly learning. So I also found a chart online, and it basically has different activities of how to integrate the technologies with all the different mediums of technology with the intelligences, which was a list of mostly the things that I had already given, which you'll be able to see on the paper that I'm turning in. But any kind of medium can be used for the intelligences. It's just a matter of how creative the teacher is with those mediums. And all children are capable of learning. So that's it. Thank you.